Chloe's apartment was the kind of quiet that still carried city noise. The brown line rattled in the distance, someone upstairs was running water, and her old fridge hummed in small fits. On the kitchen table sat her laptop, a half-finished mug of coffee, and a neatly labeled folder, Parents' Mortgage, Remaining Balance. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down, expecting yet another reminder she did not want to see. Instead, she read, "Your one-time access code for the Northbridge Dynamics financial portal is 842199. Do not share this code with anyone." She froze. Northbridge Dynamics she knew from articles and glossy business podcasts, logistics platform, industrial analytics, reinventing supply chains. Big pre-IPO name. She did not work for them. She had never even applied. A second later, her email pinged. "Welcome to Northbridge Financial Portal," the subject said. It came from a legitimate-looking address. SPF and DKIM passed. The mail headers looked clean. This was not some lazy phishing kit. Chloe rubbed her forehead. One part of her brain cataloged the red flags. Another part quietly scrolled through her notes app. Rent due, parents' mortgage payment, mom's medication, dad's checkup. After the end of this month, her current contract dried up. Her spreadsheet of projected income did not look kind. She clicked the portal link, but only until the login screen appeared. The interface looked polished, real. The box for the one-time code blinked patiently. "Absolutely not," she muttered. At the bottom of the email was a phone number for Northbridge Financial Systems Support. She weighed her options for about 10 seconds and then hit call. Safer to talk than to pretend nothing happened and end up mentioned in someone's log. The line rang longer than she expected. She imagined some menu, a board operator, a ticket number. Instead, a clear male voice came on. "Cole." Chloe blinked. "Is this Northbridge Dynamics?" she asked. The voice shifted, slightly guarded. "Yes? Who's calling?" "My name is Chloe Miller," she said. "I'm a forensic accountant. I think I just received a one-time code and login for your financial portal by mistake. I haven't used it. I don't work for you. I like not being indicted." There was silence on the line, not quite dead air, more like someone standing still. "Can you tell me exactly what you received?" he said. She read the email slowly, including the subject line and technical details. She mentioned she had opened the link but not entered the code. She added, "Your portal loads. Your TLS certificate is valid. If this is a test of your vendor controls, it's an interesting one." The voice answered, firmer this time. "Thank you for not entering the code. Don't enter it. Don not forward the email. Can you send me a screenshot? I'll give you a secure address." He dictated a corporate email that matched the domain. His cadence was measured, like someone used to risk briefings. Chloe took a screenshot and sent it from her phone. "If you'd prefer I just delete everything and pretend this never happened," she said, "I can do that too. I have other clients. I don't need your whatever this is." He gave a small sound that landed somewhere between a laugh and an exhale. "Most people would log in and poke around," he said. "You called instead. I appreciate that." "I work with fraud cases," she said. "People lose licenses over stupid curiosity. I like my license." He was quiet for a couple of beats. "Ms. Miller, you said you're a forensic accountant. Independent?" "Yes," she said. "I run a small practice, mostly financial disputes, a few fraud investigations, a lot of spreadsheets." "Are you in Chicago?" he asked. "Logan Square," she said. "Why?" "I'd like to talk in person," he said. "This mix-up is almost certainly not random. Could you come to our office tomorrow morning? Wacker Drive. I'll have your name at the front desk. It's not a formal interview, just a conversation. You can say no." She opened her calendar with her free hand. One client call at 8:30, flexible. No court dates. No immovable obligations besides bills. "What exactly are you asking me to walk into?" she asked. "I'm asking you to walk into a conference room, have coffee, and hear a proposal," he said. "If you are uncomfortable at any point, you walk out. No NDA traps, no sneaky commitments. You keep your independence. She stared at the folder on the table labeled Parents' Mortgage and the notes on her phone spelling out a gap in income 2 months from now. Fine, she said. Morning is better. I need time to move a call. 10:30, he said. Northbridge Tower, 39th floor. Ask for me. My name is Grayson Cole. The name snapped into place. Chloe switched to her laptop as soon as they hung up and pulled up a business article. Northbridge Dynamics founder and executive chairman, the headline said. The photo was carefully lit, mid-40s, tailored suit, expression that hinted at long hours. She zoomed in. On his wrist were expensive watches with a visible scratch on the bezel. She closed the browser and looked around her small kitchen. Nothing had changed, but the room felt tighter. She added a new line to her notes. Meeting at Northbridge. Unclear risk. Possible contract. Possible disaster. She did not sleep deeply that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw login screens and audit logs filling with her name she had not typed. Morning hit downtown Chicago with cold light and a sharp wind from the river. Chloe stepped out of the subway and tilted her head back. The Northbridge Tower reflected the pale sky and the current of the water below. For a second, she thought about turning around. Then she adjusted her grip on her bag and went in. The lobby smelled like coffee and polished stone. A wide security desk sat under a wall of screens showing maps and numbers. The receptionist looked up with a practiced smile and said, "Good morning. Name?" "Chloe Miller," she said. "I'm here to see Mr. Cole." The receptionist checked a list. Then her tone shifted almost imperceptibly. "Of course, Ms. Miller. Mr. Cole asked to be notified when you arrived. Please sign in. Someone will escort you up." While she waited by the elevators, Chloe scanned the room. A cluster of employees huddled over their phones, talking about quarter-end deadlines. By security, a man in a gray suit stood with his arms folded, no badge, eyes moving more than his body. He glanced at her, held the look for a second too long, then turned away when the elevator chimed. On the 39th floor, an assistant with a tablet greeted her and led her past glass-walled offices and framed photos of freight yards and data centers. They stopped at a broad door. "He's expecting you," the assistant said. Grayson's office had a wall of glass with a view of the river and the trains. The furniture was expensive but not showy. In one corner leaned a black guitar on a stand. On a sideboard stood a framed photograph. A younger Grayson in a T-shirt, arm over the shoulders of a scrappy-looking team in a cramped office. No suits, no tower. She noticed the watches on his wrist were the same as in the article shot, scratch and all. He stepped away from the window when she entered and offered his hand. "Ms. Miller," he said, "thank you for coming." "Chloe is fine," she said, shaking his hand. His grip was firm, his expression controlled, but not cold. He gestured toward a small round table where 2 mugs and a carafe already sat. "Coffee?" he asked. "I'll risk it," she said, and sat. He did not waste time. "Last night," he said, "our internal security alert system flagged a change in a vendor master record. An email address on one of our contractors was edited to yours. Then the system did what it was designed to do. It sent a login to the updated address. You got it. You called instead of logging in. That part we got lucky on." Chloe nodded. "So whoever changed that email did it inside your systems," she said. "That is not a random typo." He slid a printed page across the table. "This is the audit log for that change," he said. "It shows it was done from an admin account in our finance group, after hours, from an IP that belongs to this building." She scanned the log, admin access, finance group, timestamp just before midnight. "So someone with high-level credentials pointed an account at me," she said. "Not very subtle." "Subtlety was not required for that part," he said. "The part that concerns me more is that the vendor in question existed months before your address appeared on it. The name on the vendor is Miller Analytics, LLC. Ring any bells?" Her stomach tightened. "No," she said. "I own Miller Forensics, LLC. I never registered a second company." He watched her closely. "Then someone registered a fake vendor using your name long before last night," he said. "Placed it in our payables. Got it ready. That suggests planning." "For what?" she asked quietly. "For a scapegoat," he said. "We are preparing to go public. Our numbers are under pressure and inspection. If someone is inflating revenue or moving money through sham vendors, they know they might get caught. A clean external professional with a real license is useful to them. They can say, 'Look, it was her.'" Chloe leaned back. The room felt warmer than before. "So what do you want from me?" she asked. "Exactly." He set down his coffee. "I want you to do what you do best," he said. "I want you to investigate our vendor and revenue patterns. Not for me personally, for our audit committee, and, if necessary, for the regulator. I want you to trace where the money goes. I want someone in this building whose loyalty is not to my CFO or to our PR team or to the timeline for ringing a bell at an exchange." She let that sit. "You understand how that sounds," she said. "The executive chairman of a pre-IPO company asking a stranger to dig into his books and giving her a path to regulators. Some would say you are building yourself a shield." He did not flinch. "My first company collapsed because my partners committed fraud, and I saw it too late," he said. "I cooperated with regulators, but I almost went down anyway. I lost the team in that photograph and a few people I was close to. I told myself I would never again protect a logo over the facts. If you come in and find nothing, good. If you find something, I want it out before we invite public money in." He slid a short contract toward her. The language was straightforward. 3-month engagement, fixed fee, read-only access to financial systems, independence guaranteed. She answered to the board's audit committee, not management. There was a clause that explicitly authorized her to report illegal activity directly to regulators without prior notice. "This is surprisingly clean," she said. "It has to be," he said. "If we're doing this, we do it properly." She tapped the contract lightly. "You talked about regulators in the future tense," she said. "Have you already been in contact?" He hesitated just enough that she caught it. "I have had informal conversations," he said. "I told them that if I found reason to worry, I would cooperate fully. I did not mention you. You came in by error. So I am walking into a situation where your name might already be on their radar," she said. "And now mine is tagged on a fake vendor." "Yes," he said, "that is exactly what you are walking into. If you say no right now, I will still have to deal with that vendor and its history, without the one person who called instead of pressing enter." Chloe looked down at the contract again. The numbers on the fee line were significant to her life, not to his. Enough to clear her parents' remaining high-interest balance if she managed her costs carefully. "If I find your name attached to something ugly," she said, "I put it in the report. I do not soften it. I don't warn you off the record." His jaw tightened for a second. "Then you put it in the report," he said. "No special treatment. And if at any point I feel you are using me as a shield," she added, "I walk. No explanation. I owe you only good faith work, not my reputation." He nodded. "Agreed." They signed. By the time she left his office, IT had already sent a message about a clean laptop and a temporary workspace near finance. As the assistant walked her toward her new glass cube, Chloe glanced back. Grayson stood at his window, one hand on the frame, eyes on the river, as if he was watching a current he had no illusion of controlling. Her temporary office had 2 monitors, a docking station, and a view of an open-plan floor where people in smart casual clothes churned through spreadsheets and calls. An IT engineer named Sam gave her a short briefing. "You have read-only access to vendor master, invoice history, GL, treasury transfers," Sam said. "You can't edit anything. Everything you view is logged. If you need extra data, ask me instead of hitting random tables. Last thing we need is the CFO screaming about performance. I will try very hard not to break your database, Chloe said. He grinned. Also, coffee down here is bad. If you make it to 38, it gets better. When he left, she opened the portal and started with the vendor list. Rows of company names filled the screen: logistics firms, tech consultants, regional warehouses. She sorted by spend, then by creation date, then by risk flags. She added a simple conditional formatting rule: highlight vendors that shared addresses, phone numbers, or contact emails. It did not take long to see a pattern. Several entities created in the last 18 months looked normal at a glance, but shared a phone number. A logistics contractor, a supply chain analytics consultant, a foundation that apparently sponsored community programs near key industrial hubs. Their invoices were smooth, no obvious spikes, always slightly ahead of forecast. She flagged them and drilled deeper. Then she searched for Miller. One entry popped up: Miller Analytics, LLC. Address: a P.O. box she did not recognize. Contact: a generic email that vaguely resembled hers. Creation date: 9 months ago. Approval: Finance Admin Number 3. No invoices yet, just test entries, then a gap. Her skin prickled. She opened the change history. 4 entries. The last one: email updated to Chloe Millero. Time-stamped last night. Admin user from Finance Group. She took a slow breath, exported the history to a secure file, and saved it inside an encrypted container on the company drive and on an external drive Sam had registered as her evidence device. She wrote a small timeline for herself in Notepad. Fake vendor created, dormant, last-minute email change, misdirected login, phone call, contract. As she finished the line, someone knocked lightly and stepped in without waiting. A man in a slim suit and no tie, early 40s, smooth posture. "You must be our new internal fire alarm," he said with a polite smile. "I'm Mark Lyons, CFO." She stood up and shook his hand. His eyes flicked to her monitors, took in the vendor list. "Welcome to the madness," he said. "I hear Mr. Cole likes external assurance," he added. "It keeps him up at night if he cannot find 3 sets of eyes on the same number." "I'm here for patterns," she said, "not to duplicate your auditors." He chuckled. "Patterns are dangerous things," he said. "People like you see ghosts where there are none. We already passed all standard tests. Our auditors are comfortable. But if you need anything, my team can help. Please route requests through them. Our systems are under enough strain preparing for the roadshow." "I'll coordinate through proper channels," she said. "Good," he said. "We all want the same thing: clean launch, no distraction, and no drama in the press." His smile did not reach his eyes. Later, a woman in a flawless blazer and bright lipstick stopped by. "You must be Chloe," she said. "I'm Lena. I run communications and investor relations. If you find anything that could be misinterpreted outside, I would appreciate a heads up. We need to shape narrative, especially now." "My first obligation is to accuracy," Chloe said. "Within that, I can keep you informed." Lena's expression shifted a fraction. "Of course," she said. "Facts are good. Boring stories are better." When they left, she made another note. CFO and head of PR introduced themselves within hours, both concerned about drama and narrative. She opened a shared folder she had access to as part of her engagement, looking for incident templates. A document caught her eye. Draft. Statement: Third-party vendor breach. The title alone made her chest tighten. The text laid out a scenario. A rogue contractor abused access to Northbridge systems, manipulated vendor details, attempted to siphon funds. It emphasized Northbridge's cooperation with regulators and decisive response, terminating the vendor, reinforcing controls. In the brackets, a line waited to be filled. Insert name of vendor and owner, Miller Analytics, confirm full legal name. Chloe stared at the screen for a long second. Someone had already scripted her as the villain. All they needed was a few more keystrokes, a few more entries in the logs. Her phone buzzed. A new text from an unknown number. "Hope you like your new client." Attached was a picture of her parents standing on the porch of their modest house, smiling at the camera. The photo was old, pulled from some social media page, but the message was clear. She saved the text and image, printed them to PDF, dropped them in the encrypted container. Her hands only shook after the files were safe. Then a corporate calendar alert popped up on her screen. Meeting, compliance check-in, ARI, access use, with HR, corporate counsel, CFO. Conference room 14B, invitation sent by HR. She stared at the subject line. It read like routine, but the timing and the guest list were not routine. She clicked accept. On the other side of the building, Grayson sat with his laptop open, a video call minimized on the screen. The man on the other end was in a plain office with a government logo on the wall. "Your tip line lit up overnight," said the man. "Anonymous complaint about revenue inflation at Northbridge. It mentions shell vendors, pre-IPO window dressing, and possible insider trading by senior executives. And it drops a name, Chloe Miller." "Of course it does," Grayson said quietly. The regulator, Arun Patel, sighed. "The complaint claims she already had unauthorized access to your system months ago and is now cleaning up traces. It reads like someone trying to get ahead of something." Grayson's jaw clenched. "Chloe only walked in this building this morning," he said. "She called me yesterday because your beloved system sent her a vendor login in error. We hired her to investigate the exact schemes that complaint describes." Patel leaned closer. "You realize this makes it look like a fight inside your house," he said. "Somebody there knows enough to be dangerous and is trying to push the story onto an outsider." "I realize," Grayson said. "You also know I reached out to you months ago about my concerns." "I know," Patel said. "We have a record of that. But understand this. Once I log this complaint officially, I have to treat everyone with potential access as a subject. That includes Ms. Miller and you." Grayson looked at the old team photo on his shelf. "Then let us do it cleanly," he said. "I will give you her contract, the scope, the clause that gives her the right to talk to you without going through me. You have my earlier statement. If I find proof that this is bigger than aggressive accounting, you will have it." "You do know this could cost you your company," Patel said. "The last time I tried to protect a company instead of the truth, I almost went to prison anyway," Grayson said. "I learned from that." Patel gave a dry, tired smile. "All right," he said. "Document everything. Do not let your CFO control the data flow to us, and keep Ms. Miller safe. Whoever wrote that complaint is willing to drag her in." When the call ended, Grayson got up, went to the interior window, and looked down at the finance floor. Through the glass, he could see Chloe in her cube, typing. Mark passed by her office, paused, then moved on. A few desks away, Lena was in a quiet, intense conversation with corporate counsel. His desk phone beeped. His assistant's voice came through. "HR scheduled a meeting with Ms. Miller, Mark, and legal in 14B, she said. "They did not put you on the invite." "Of course they did not," he said. "Hold my next call. I'm going down." The compliance meeting room had a big screen, a pot of coffee, and 3 people waiting when Chloe walked in. HR director, corporate counsel, and Mark. The mood was nowhere near neutral. "Chloe, thanks for coming," HR said with a professional smile. Corporate counsel gestured at a chair. "We just need to walk through a few points related to your access," he said. "Please, sit." She sat by the door rather than deep into the room. Mark folded his hands. "We have been reviewing audit logs," he said. "We see repeated access patterns tied to a vendor account associated with your name, starting before your official engagement." "That is correct," Chloe said calmly. "A fake vendor with my name was created months ago. I saw it in your system." Corporate counsel clicked a remote. The screen lit up with a table. According to this, he said, there were automated scripts using that vendor account, making changes to contact details and testing invoice entries. The fact that your email now appears in those records creates an optics problem. Chloe looked at the screen. Those are system-level script calls, she said. See that? Service account. Those are not human logins. And that timestamp there, she pointed, it is out of sequence. That line was inserted later. Someone with admin powers manipulated your logs. HR frowned. We are not accusing you, she said quickly, too quickly. But we need to understand whether your practices, like saving data externally, might expose the company. I have saved evidence externally as allowed by my contract, Chloe said. The one that explicitly gives me the right to preserve data and share it with regulators. Mark leaned forward. You took company data out of our systems, he asked. I preserved evidence of a crime from systems where the crime is happening, she said, under an agreement signed by your executive chairman and your board committee. Yes. Corporate counsel opened his mouth to speak just as the door opened. Grayson walked in without waiting to be invited. Good morning, he said. Am I interrupting a fair and balanced conversation? HR straightened in her chair. We were conducting a routine compliance review, she said. With my external forensics lead, he said evenly, without including me or the audit committee that engaged her. That is not routine. He glanced at the screen, took in the table with one sweep. We are not going to solve this in a side room, he said. From now on, any questions about Ms. Miller's work go through her charter and the committee. And if anyone wants to debate her right to preserve evidence, they can do so in the presence of our regulator. Corporate counsel stiffened. Bringing in regulators at every step may complicate the IPO timeline, he said. The IPO timeline is already complicated, Grayson said. Trying to corner a key witness without counsel will complicate it more. Mark's jaw tightened. This is about protecting the company, he said. We cannot let someone with access run their own agenda. Her agenda is finding out why someone attempted to plant her as the villain in a fraud play, Grayson said. If you have concerns, you put them in writing. That way, when Mr. Patel asks, we can show him everything. At that exact second, Chloe's phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at the screen. A notification from Sam. Someone just triggered a bulk log purge on the vendor server. Trying to stop it now. She looked up at the room. Someone is deleting logs as we speak, she said. Grayson shifted his attention instantly. From where? He asked. Sam says from a finance admin account, she said. If you want to talk about agendas, we should probably start there. The room went still. HR's smile vanished entirely. Mark stared at her phone, then at Grayson. For the first time, Chloe saw something rattled in his expression. Grayson turned toward the door. This meeting is over, he said. Counsel, HR, you will get a summary of what just happened, and it will include the attempted destruction of evidence. He looked at Chloe. Go to Sam. Help him document everything. I will inform the audit committee and Patel. Her heart pounded, but her voice stayed flat. Understood, she said, and walked out without waiting for permission. The server room hummed with cold air and concentrated stress. Racks of machines blinked calmly, ignoring human panic. Sam stood in front of a console, typing fast. Tell me you beat it, Chloe said, stepping in. Mostly, he said, not taking his eyes off the screen. They started a scheduled purge job and bumped its scope. I killed it mid-run. Our mirrored logs caught everything until then. We lost some secondary traces, not the main show. Who launched it? She asked. He flashed a window. Admin account. M. Lyons Finance Admin, he said. Could be compromised. Could be convenient. Chloe shook her head. Either way, we have the deletion attempt and the origin, she said. Copy that to the evidence mirror. Lock it. You know this puts a neon sign over your head, Sam said. Whoever is doing this already hates that you exist. They sent me a photo of my parents' house yesterday, she said. The neon sign is already on. Sam paused for the first time. You told anyone? Grayson and the regulator know, she said. Now you do. That is enough for today. He nodded and went back to typing. Okay, he said. Let's make sure if they try again, the only thing they erase is their own excuses. The next 48 hours turned into an exhausting loop of interviews, calls, and data pulls. Chloe barely saw daylight. She worked with Sam to map out all vendor-related logs, triggered snapshots of financial tables, and cross-referenced payments with public records. Patterns emerged. Vendors that shared phone numbers with shell charities. Charities that had board members related to 2 of Northbridge's own board members. Money going out as community investment and appearing back in accounts that just happened to trade Northbridge stock in the thin gray market long before it officially listed. A mid-level analyst named Jonah knocked on her door late one evening. He looked tired and wired at once, shirt rumpled, tie in his pocket. "Do you have a minute?" he asked. "If you are here to accuse me of anything, get in line," she said, motioning to the chair. "If you are here to help, sit." He sat. "I have been moving numbers around for months," he said. "Nothing huge at once. Rounding here, reclassifying there. Mark called it smoothing. Lena called it telling a story. I called it keeping my job." She opened a fresh page in her notebook. "Specifics," she said. He swallowed. "Last quarter we pushed some operating expenses into the CapEx bucket," he said. "The quarter before that, we moved funding for a failing pilot into community outreach. Those charities you are looking at, some of them are real, some are not. I started to record our internal calls 6 months ago. I told myself it was for training. That was a lie." "Do you still have those recordings?" she asked. He nodded, eyes on his hands. "On a personal drive," he said. "I thought if things went bad, I could prove I just followed instructions. But then I saw your name on a vendor list, and I saw the draft statement about a rogue contractor. That is not smoothing. That is building a fall guy." "Why come to me?" she asked. "Why not go to HR or legal?" He gave a humorless laugh. "You were in a room with HR and legal yesterday and walked out," he said. "That tells me something. Also, rumor has it, you have a direct line to the regulator. HR does not." She weighed his face, his posture, the tremor in his voice. "If we do this," she said, "you understand there is no going back. You will be a witness. People will try to discredit you. They will call you bitter, disloyal, cowardly. You still want in?" He took a breath. "I would rather face that than spend the rest of my life waiting for a knock on the door," he said. "I know the numbers. I helped make them pretty. I am tired of being pretty." "Fine," she said. "We do it by the book. You hand over copies of everything to me and directly to Patel. We document the chain of custody. We do not leak to the press. We aim for charges, not headlines." As they finished, her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "You are making yourself very visible, Ms. Miller," a male voice said, distorted through something cheap. "Not smart. This company is worth billions. People will do a lot to protect that." "For example?" she asked. He hung up. She noted the call time, number, and the useless voicemail. Then she forwarded the log to Patel with one line. Another attempt at soft intimidation. Evidence attached. On the way home that night, as she crossed a side street near her building, a black car turned unusually fast, headlights blinding. She stepped back just in time. The car braked at the last moment, paused long enough for her to see tinted glass, then sped off. Her hands shook when she pulled out her phone, but she still managed to capture the plate. At home, with the fridge humming in the dark, she sent the plate number to Patel and to Grayson separately. Her message to Grayson was short. Might be nothing. Might not. I am still on the job. His reply came a minute later. I am glad you are home. We will add security measures tomorrow. You do not owe me bravery, only honesty. She stared at the last sentence longer than she needed to, then put the phone face down. 2 days later, in a smaller conference room with blinds pulled mostly shut, Chloe sat across from Grayson and Patel. A stack of printed timelines, screenshots, and transcripts lay between them. Patel flipped through one of the pages. "You understand," he said to Grayson, "that your cooperation does not guarantee immunity." "I am aware," Grayson said. "Last time I did this, my cooperation only guaranteed a little less prison. I am not counting on gifts." "You realize it would be easier for you personally to say nothing, let the IPO go through, cash out, and let this blow up later," Patel said. "It would be easier until it is not," Grayson said. "I do not intend to spend the next 10 years explaining why I stayed quiet when I knew something was wrong." Chloe watched their exchange. "There is one more thing we need to talk about," she said. "Conflict of interest." Both men looked at her. "I work for your board," she said to Grayson. "I cooperate with you and with Patel. At the same time, you are one of the people under scrutiny. On top of that, we are not neutral with each other." Grayson held her gaze. "You mean personally?" he said. "I mean personally," she said. "I am not pretending we are just client and vendor anymore, but I will not let anything blur the line in my work. If this investigation ever touches you directly, that line has to be crystal clear." Patel raised an eyebrow. "Are you asking whether your relationship affects your independence?" he asked. "I am saying we need ground rules," she said, "on record." Grayson straightened. "Then put them on record," he said. "If Chloe ever finds anything implicating me, she puts it in the report without warning. If our personal connection complicates her job, I step back from any discussion involving her work. If the board decides my presence is a problem, I accept that." Patel studied him. "You would step down?" he asked. "If that is what it takes," Grayson said. "I already survived losing one company." Chloe spoke quietly. "No back-channel requests," she said. "No late-night, just between us updates. If we talk about work, it is in documented channels or in rooms where it should happen. If we talk about anything else, we protect those boundaries." Grayson nodded. "Agreed," he said. Patel scribbled a note. "I would love to pretend this is the strangest situation I have seen," he said, "but I have been in this job too long." A notification popped up on his tablet. He glanced at it. "The board's emergency session is set for tomorrow," he said. "They asked if you can both attend, and they asked for Jonah, your analyst." "Let them ask," Chloe said. "We are ready." The boardroom looked like a corporate commercial. Long, dark table, glossy screens, a view of the river. Today it felt more like a stage. Chloe sat near one end with Jonah and Sam. Grayson sat at the far end, facing the board members. Mark sat alongside with counsel, Lena next to him, eyes blank. Patel and a representative from the external audit firm joined by video. The chair of the audit committee nodded to Chloe. "Ms. Miller," he said, "please walk us through your findings." She did. She kept her language simple. She showed a clear chart, vendor creation dates, payment flows, shared contact information, charity connections. She displayed spreadsheets where donations matched suspicious trading volumes. She highlighted entries in the log showing the creation and later manipulation of Miller Analytics, LLC. Then she brought up the draft PR statement. "Someone anticipates a narrative where a single, rogue contractor bears the blame," she said. "The document explicitly waits for my name to be dropped in. That is not risk management. That is strategy." Patel confirmed from the screen, "We have independent evidence of the same patterns. We also have the anonymous complaint that attempted to frame Ms. Miller." Jonah spoke, voice steady but quiet, about pressure to smooth numbers and references to "everyone does it before an IPO." They played clips where Mark's voice calmly explained how to reclassify expenses and where Lena talked about polishing the story. Mark's attorney objected, questioned the legality of recordings. Patel noted that admissibility would be decided later, but the pattern was clear. When they got to the log purge, Sam explained how an admin account initiated a broader deletion job, how the mirrored logs preserved the attempt itself, and how the credentials used matched Mark's profile. Mark took a breath. "Anyone could have used my account," he said. "I do not control every keystroke on our system. This is a rush to judgment. We are talking about aggressive but normal corporate behavior, and you are framing it like a crime spree." One of the independent directors leaned forward. "Aggressive behavior does not require fake vendors and doctored logs," she said. "Nor does it require naming a new hire in an anonymous complaint." Another director turned to Chloe. "In your professional opinion," he asked, "is this fixable without burning the whole company down?" "Yes," she said, "but not quietly, and not quickly. You will need to restate earnings for at least 6 quarters, remove sham vendors, cut ties with implicated charities, cooperate fully with regulators. Accept that some executives will face personal consequences, but if you do that, you can still be a functioning company." The board chair, a man in his 70s with a polished aura, finally spoke. "What about Mr. Cole?" he said. "You have looked at patterns around him. Has he benefited personally from these schemes?" Chloe answered carefully. "I have seen no evidence that Mr. Cole ordered or benefited directly from the vendor manipulation or revenue smoothing," she said. "In fact, I have records showing he reached out to regulators months before my engagement. That said, he is responsible for the culture in which this happened." The chair nodded slowly, then turned to Mark. "You have led our financial team through this period," he said. "Do you deny issuing instructions that led to misrepresentations?" Mark opened his mouth, closed it, then tried a different angle. "I did what was necessary to deliver the numbers you and Mr. Cole demanded," he said. "He pushed for impossible targets. The pressure came from the top. You can all pretend this is about one CFO and one PR head, but you know how walls are lined with mirrors here." The room's attention swung to Grayson. He did not look away. "I pushed for growth," he said. "I did not push for fabrication. If I missed the line being crossed, that is on me. That is why we are in this room now, instead of at an exchange podium." The chair signaled for a pause. "We will need some time in private session," he said. "Ms. Miller, Mr. Lyons, Ms. Hart, Mr. Cole, Mr. Jonah, please wait outside. Mr. Patel and the external auditors will remain." In the corridor, the silence had a different texture, less polished, more human. Jonah paced. Sam texted someone in IT. Chloe sat, forcing her shoulders to loosen. Grayson stood by the window, watching the river again. After a minute, he said quietly, "If they decide I am the price of their survival, they will ask for my head." Chloe answered, "If they try to buy survival by pushing everything on you and Mark and leaving the structure intact, Patel will not accept that." "And you?" he asked. "I follow the evidence," she said. "If it points to you, I write your name down. You already agreed to that." He gave a small nod. "I meant it," he said. When they were called back in, the board members looked older. The audit chair spoke. "First," he said, "we will fully cooperate with the regulator and the external auditors. Second, Mr. Lyons is suspended effective immediately, pending the outcome of formal proceedings. Ms. Hart is placed on administrative leave. Third, we will defer our IPO until we complete restatements and remediation, however long that takes." Mark stiffened. Lena stared ahead. "Fourth," the chair continued, "Mr. Cole has offered to step down as executive chairman. The board has accepted his resignation from all executive duties. He will remain on the board as a non-executive director for now, subject to regulator review." The room shifted. Grayson's expression barely changed, but Chloe saw his shoulders loosen and then reset. "Finally," the chair said, "we are creating a permanent internal forensics and ethics office, reporting solely to the audit committee. Ms. Miller, we would like you to lead it." Every eye fell on Chloe. She thought of her parents' mortgage folder, her notes app, her empty pipeline of contracts. She also thought of panic in the HR room, cheap threats on the phone, a black car that did not slow down at first. "I am interested," she said, "on conditions." There was a small stir. Not many people told this board they had conditions. Go on, the chair said. Number 1, she said. Formal charter, signed and public. My office has unfettered access to financial systems, HR reports, and communications archives. I cannot be removed or sidelined without documented cause reviewed by regulators. Reasonable, the audit chair said. Number 2, she said. My reporting line is to the audit committee only, not to the CEO, not to any future CFO, not to Mr. Cole. No one in management can override my recommendations without board-level documentation. That is how we envisioned it, the chair said. Number 3, she said. No one uses my office as a marketing tool. No, look at our shiny ethics campaigns while we are still cleaning up. We focus on substance first. Lena flinched at that, even on leave. Patel spoke from the screen. If these conditions are formally documented, it will improve our view of Northbridge's remediation, he said. The board agreed. They had little choice, and they knew it. When the meeting ended, Mark left the room with his lawyer, face set. Lena walked out alone, back straight. Grayson remained a moment longer. Chloe stepped aside as he approached. You just negotiated yourself into a job that will put you in constant conflict with everyone who likes shortcuts, he said. I have experience with conflict, she said. Now I have a title that matches it. He smiled briefly. You also just watched me lose the position I built for 10 years, he said. You offered to step down, she said. You knew it might land this way. I did, he said. Does not make it pleasant. She nodded. You are still on the board, she said. But from now on, if I have to write a report about you, you get the same version as everyone else. I expect nothing less, he said. 3 months later, the Northbridge Tower felt different. There were fewer people on the finance floor. Some had left in anger, some in relief, some with severance packages that Chloe had helped make transparent. Town halls had been awkward, with questions about trust, layoffs, and why anyone should believe leadership anymore. The IPO was on ice. Articles had come out framing Northbridge as the company that hit pause instead of the wall. Some commentators called it a rare act of corporate honesty under pressure. Others called it spin, but the lawsuits that might have come later did not appear. Chloe sat in her permanent office now. It was still glass-walled but larger, with a whiteboard full of process diagrams. On her desk lay a signed charter, Internal Forensics and Ethics, Mandate and Independence. Her name sat under the title Director. Her phone buzzed with a notification from her banking app. The parent's mortgage account now read, Paid in full. She rested her head briefly in her hands and let herself enjoy the quiet rush of that. Years of tight budgets, patchwork payments, and heavy calls had led to this screen. A knock on the door broke the moment. Come in, she said. Grayson stepped in. No suit jacket today, just a dark shirt with sleeves rolled up. His watches were the same, scratch included. He looked less like an executive and more like someone who had spent time in long meetings with lawyers and then walked a lot to clear his head. Committee signed your final charter this morning, he said. Patel approved the structure. You are officially their favorite pain in the neck. Good, she said. I plan to earn the title. He glanced at the bank notification still visible on her phone. She did not hide it. You did it, he said. I did, she said. My parents' house is theirs now, not the bank's. Thanks to your mess, technically. Our mess, he said, but I am glad some good came out of it for you. She leaned back in her chair. You are taking more time away from day to day, right? She asked. I heard you turned down a chance to become executive again once the dust settled. I did, he said. I cannot be the person I used to be and the person who pulled the brake at the same time. Better people can run operations now. I stay on governance, and I stay out of your way. She smiled slightly. About staying out of my way, she said. You wanted to revisit something, if I remember. Our ban on talking like normal people outside work, he said. Yes, she said, that. He sat across from her, leaving enough space, as always. The investigation phase is stable now, he said. The major players are either out, under review, or cooperating. Regulators know about our situation. Your independence is structured. I am not your boss in any sense. I would like to see if there is something between us that is not built on crisis and spreadsheets." She listened without interrupting. He added, "If you say no, nothing changes in how I work with you or your office. You do not owe me anything beyond the truth." She let herself feel the question, not just analyze it. For months they had navigated small, careful moments, walking out of tense meetings, exchanging short texts about schedules, talking about their days in the most neutral way possible. "Ground rules," she said. He nodded. "Name them." "No work talk on personal time unless it is urgent," she said. "No leaning on whatever we are to get softer treatment in reports. If I ever have to put you or someone you care about in one of my memos, I do it. You do not argue. You do not disappear." "Agreed," he said. "No secrecy," she added. "If this becomes something serious, we tell the audit committee in simple terms. We are seeing each other. My independence remains intact under the charter. They hold us accountable if that changes." "That is going to be an interesting conversation," he said. "It will be easier than a rumor," she said. He thought for a moment, then said, "From my side, if at any point you feel my position as a board member makes your job harder or less trusted, we talk once. If we cannot fix it, I step down. I am not asking you to carry my legacy." She looked at him. "You realize that is not a small promise," she said. "I already lost one thing I thought defined me," he said. "Turns out I survived. I will survive this too, if it comes to that." She stood, walked around the desk, and stopped a comfortable distance from him. "One coffee," she said. "Outside this building, no spreadsheets, no case updates. We see if this feels like something real, without adrenaline." He stood as well, careful not to crowd her. "I can do one coffee," he said. "I know a place by the river with decent cappuccino and terrible muffins." "As long as they are not cooking their revenue numbers, I am fine," she said. They left the floor together but separated by a few steps, chatting about Sam's latest efforts to modernize the IT stack and Jonah's new role in another company that had poached him as a reformed numbers guy. The cafe by the river was small, with mismatched chairs and a view of the water. They ordered, sat by the window, and for a while talked about things that had nothing to do with Northbridge. Music he played on that guitar he still kept in his office, books she read to avoid thinking about work, the way she tracked her expenses. Not because she loved scarcity, but because it made her feel steady. He asked, "Do you ever plan to leave for something less intense?" She answered honestly, "Maybe one day, but right now, I want to see this place finish what it started. I want to know the systems here are actually clean." He accepted that without trying to persuade her otherwise. When they walked her back to her building later, he stopped a step away from the door. "Thank you for saying yes to coffee," he said, "and for everything before that." "You gave me a chance to do what I am good at without asking me to bend the rules," she said. "That is rare. I do not forget that." He asked, "Is it all right if I call you later this week? About something other than board schedules?" She nodded. "Yes," she said. "Just remember that if your name ends up in my work again, I will not hesitate." "I would be worried if you did," he said. She went upstairs, unlocked her door, and stepped into the familiar quiet. The fridge hummed, the trains rumbled outside, the folder labeled "Parents' Mortgage" lay closed on the table, no longer heavy. Her phone buzzed once more. A notification from her Notes app reminded her, "Review monthly budget." For the first time in a long time, the numbers there did not frighten her. She made tea, sat at the table, and let herself feel it all at once. The fatigue, the relief, the small, cautious thread of something new with a man who had almost been destroyed by fraud once and had decided this time to face it head on. There would be more reports, more attempts to shade the truth, more people who thought a little manipulation was worth the risk. But she had a clear mandate, a team she trusted, and someone in her life who had seen what silence cost and chosen differently. For Chloe, that was enough of a happy ending to start from.